Give reasons. Platinum, gold and silver are used to make jewelry. And the points are: platinum, gold and silver are used to make jewelry because point 1, they are bright and have a shiny surface. Point 2, they high resistance to corrosion. They do not corrode easily. They do not combine with oxygen or other elements in the environment. And the third, they have high malleability and ductility. Means they can be drawn into sheets or they can be drawn into wires, and hence you can make pretty designs with these metals. So these are the 3 points: a bright shiny surface, high resistance to corrosion and high malleability and ductility. Gold is highly ductile. In fact, it is the most ductile metal, and the reason for this is a 2-kilometer length wire can be drawn from 1 gram of gold. This is in your textbook. So if you just have 1 gram of gold, you can make a wire, a long wire which is about 2 kilometers long. Aluminium occurs in combined state, whereas gold is found in free state. And the reason is aluminium is less reactive, hence it does not combine very easily with other elements. Gold is very reactive and aluminium is less reactive. Gold is less reactive. Here gold is less reactive and aluminium is very reactive. So it does not occur in free state, it always occurs in a combined state. State the property utilized in the following. Graphite is used to make electrodes. First, remember that graphite is an allotrope of carbon. And why is it used to make electrodes? It's a good conductor of electricity. Now, why is it a good conductor of electricity? Because it has got free ions which conduct electricity. It is cheap, insoluble in water, because these electrodes usually have to be put in water or acids, some liquids. It does not react easily with acids and bases. It is non-corrosive. So usually these electrodes, you have the beaker and you put these electrodes in here and then you pass the electricity. So these electrodes are put in certain liquid. So here the graphite does not react with this liquid, does not react with water or acids. Electrical wires are coated with polyvinyl chloride or PVC. Polyvinyl chloride or PVC, or it's a rubber-like material, and they're insulators. Insulators means they are bad conductors of electricity. Hence, they do not allow electrons to flow, and they are used in the coating of electrical wires. Next, metals are used for making bells, strings of musical instruments. It's because metal alloys are used for making bells and strings of musical elements because they are sonorous. Sonorous means they make a sound. When you strike them, they make a sound. So that is called sonorous. P, Q, R are 3 elements which undergo chemical reactions according to the following equations. We need to find which is most reactive. Now we judge this reaction. We see that in this is P and this is Q, and here C. We have seen that Q has replaced P. So Q is more reactive than P. In this next reaction, we see that Q has also replaced R. See, in the sulfate, Q has taken the place of R. So Q is more reactive than R. And here in the last one, we see that P replaces R. So P is more reactive than R. Now we compare all these, we find that Q is the most reactive. Here Q is more reactive than P, and P is more reactive than R. So which is the most reactive? We see Q is the most reactive. Which is the least reactive? We see R is the least reactive. State the types of reaction listed above. These are all displacement reaction. Single displacement. So here's the answer to the same questions now. Q is the most reactive, since out of PQR, as it has replaced both. It replaces P as well as Q from their compounds. And R is the least reactive, as it has been displaced by both P and Q. R is displaced by P as well as by Q, and the type of reaction is a displacement reaction. Name the metal that is a good conductor of heat. Of course, copper and silver also is given to you in the text, is a good conductor. Next, that has low melting point, metal that has low melting point. Of course, mercury, but I think it would be better for you to write gallium. This is exactly given in your text. Gallium and cesium. A metal that does not react with oxygen even at high temperatures, and this is gold. And a metal that is most ductile is also gold. Then we have seen that 1 gram of gold can be drawn into a 2-kilometer wire. So it is very ductile. Name a metal which is liquid at room temperature, and that is mercury. And if you want to recollect a non-metal which is liquid at room temperature, a non-metal is bromine. Curd or chutney is not stored in a pot of brass. First point, you have to say brass is an alloy of metals. This is the first point. The second point you need to write is curd and chutney, they are sour, they contain acids because they are sour. So these acids present in the curd and chutney could react with the metals present in the brass to give some salts that could be harmful for health. So the acids from the chutney could react metals from the brass to give salts that are harmful for health. So they cannot be stored in brass. A non-metal exists in two different forms, Y and Z. So let's write it now. This non-metal X, it exists in two forms, they said, Y and Z. Y is the hardest natural substance. So we know the hardest natural substance is diamond. So Y must be diamond. And X is a good conductor of electricity. That we have seen, it is graphite. It's a good conductor of electricity. And your X must be carbon. So carbon has two forms. One is diamond and one is graphite, where diamond is the hardest substance, natural substance. And graphite is a good conductor of electricity. In the earlier slide, we seen why it is a good conductor, because it allows current to pass through it. If you recollect, this property is called allotropy. It's where an element exists in different forms. They have different physical properties, but same chemical. Same chemical properties. So the allotropic forms of carbon, the allotropic forms of carbon are diamond and graphite. Name two metals which will displace hydrogen from an acid, and two metals which will not. Now here we have got to look at the table. We have to mark hydrogen first. So this is hydrogen. Now whatever lies above hydrogen, all these metals will displace hydrogen because they are more reactive. This will displace hydrogen. They are more reactive. And the ones that are below will not displace because they are less reactive than hydrogen. So now we've got to find out elements that will displace. And elements that will, metals, any of these you can write that will displace. For the first one, that will displace hydrogen. Displace hydrogen means they are more reactive than hydrogen. And there is potassium, sodium, all these, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron and lead. This will all displace. While the ones that will not displace are the ones below. The ones below will not displace. And why not displace? Because they are less reactive. They are unable to displace, less reactive than hydrogen, and that is copper, mercury, silver and gold. They will not displace hydrogen.